Thank you so much for this invite. I know this is the last session, so I'll keep it very interesting. I'll try to give you more examples for the limited audience which is available and make it more, easier and make it more quicker so that all of us can have our, journey back home safe. Just to start off with a small story, just to tell you how experience can actually make a lot of difference in lives. So there is a seashore, there's a beach somewhere in the world, and there are a lot of starfishes which are actually coming out of the beach. Okay, so there's a child who's walking along with his father, and then he picks up every single starfish and he's trying to put it back in the ocean. Now, there are plenty of starfishes across in the beach, and how much can you actually put, right? Meaning it's very difficult to put every single starfish back into the beach. But then he did try. So the father goes up to the child and says that, hey, buddy, why are you doing this? How many can you actually save? You can't put up every single starfish back into the ocean. So what are you trying to do? And the child looks at the father and says that, look, father, I did a difference to this one starfish by putting it back to the ocean. So there could be plenty I could help. So whatever I could do for now is what I will try to do and save those starfishes. So the reason why I explained this storyline is it's all about experience. Experience is not something what you can just make up, right? It's how you feel. And experience is an actual feel that happens when you want to deliver something to the ultimate output what you want to give back to the industry. So there goes, and that's how I start my session on machine and AI, building the technology together, and let's go through the sessions. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I was trying to explain, that AI is definitely not a replacement of human, because at the end of the day, if you can't integrate AI from a structural point, from a technology per se, then you can't really bring in efficiency and automations in the systems. You can't really bring in output. You can't really bring in growth to the organizations, what it wants to develop. Rapid growth is something what you can ever see in the industries. So AI is important, but AI is definitely not a replacement to human. So we'll go by slides and we'll see how this can be manifest. So there are different ways where AI is actually coming up and trying to set up examples. There are multiple places where AI is an automator. You try to build multiple applications, API integrations you do to streamline the entire system and get things automated. It acts as an assistant to automate multiple transactions. I'm sure you've all used Swiggy. How many people have used Swiggy, Zomato? Yeah, don't you go through the chatbot and see how automation has really helped? It's so quick, right? You know that you've received a product and there are certain items which is not good enough, and then you actually go to the AI and ask for assistance, and the immediate assistance is being given. So basically, a lot of places, at least in experience, they have created workflow automation system which triggers conversations with the ultimate customer and makes it very easy and makes it very user-friendly for enhancements to happen and for growth to happen. So you're not using human beings to actually talk to these customers, but you're using machines and workflows, and you read customers' significant questions or possible questions that can come in, and then you create workflow systems which can actually automatically give the right answers, and you close the transaction, thereby saving cost. And I'm sure you will resonate to what I'm saying. Almost every single industry, it can be any industry, touch any industry, every single industry is looking at automation at scale. Every single industry is looking at API integration, system integrations to make it more unified and make it more structured. And that's how the world goes on, and it's going to be more different in the next couple of years to come. So what does it take? We very, very easily talk of AI. We very easily talk of unification of systems. We talk of technology. We talk so many things, right? I think for all these things, knowing your customer is very important. I was listening to a podcast early this morning, and it was talking of AI in specific and personalization in specific. So I'll give you a small example. Let's assume that a person A was walking on the road and the dog bit him. Okay? Obviously, there is a lot of stress, there is anxiety, there is this thing that, okay, the dog bit me, what is going to happen to me? And then the boy goes to the owner and asks, I hope you have treated the dog enough with all the medication on time. And the owner says, no, I have not given it injections on time. And then there is this thing running in your head, oh God, now the injection is not given, what next? Okay, the boy goes to the hospital, stands in the queue, and then there's a form that is given, and then he randomly fills up the entire form. 1 hour is gone. You're waiting for the doctor to come, and then you're more anxious. What next? Oh God, what have I got rabies? What if I've got rabies? By now, in the next 1 hour, it's like 2 hours from the time I've got bit. What next? So the point over here, what I'm trying to emphasize is how automation really helps here. How personalization really helps here is, if there is always a customer who is coming to you all the time, let's assume that there is a person who is visiting a XYZ hospital every time, then you actually have all the information about the customer. You don't necessarily need to give a form to him, fill up the entire details, and then check for multiple various aspects and do a clean checkup as to what can go wrong, what can go right, right? So this is what is called as personalization. Knowing your customer, knowing what they want, what they are, the background, how many times have they visited, all these things are very, very important and critical from an automation perspective. And even if you want to have it sustainable in the long run, if you want the customer to come back to you, elimination of all these processes which are really not wanted kills time and then saves money, thereby the customer comes repeated times to you. So I think that is where automation comes. And that's where using omni-channel comes. The person can call, the person can connect over chat, the person can connect over email, the person can connect over social media. There are multiple channels where customers can connect to you. How fast can you integrate all these channels? Like Priya comes on chat, Priya comes on email, Priya comes on call, Priya comes on social media. Now, if you have all these social media presences in every single transactions, as separate interactions, you will never know the customer. But if you combine all these transactions and have a funnel approach built in the system, then you actually know that Priya, possibly when something goes wrong, she will immediately write it on social media. Then that is when a service recovery can be done. So that's why AI really helps in bringing in data analytics when integration happens. Plus, of course, empowering your employees. You build databases, you build interactions so that your employees are aware of what is happening with your customers. And you need to have given them equal and more empowerment so that they can close transactions on time and help customers evolve. So that is something which is very important. And mindset of continuous improvement. Of course, we all talk, right? Don't we all improve in our lives? Today, if I am at a 78 kgs and I want to do a 75 kg, I want to get into a 70 kg further, then I need to know where I stand today, where I stand tomorrow, where I stand day after, right? And I need to keep a track of myself, whether am I improving, am I not improving, or am I going behind my schedule if there is a time target, what I've kept in place. So I think it's the same thing even with technology and integration. If you don't know where you stand, how you're improving, and you're not spanning this entire thing, then it does have a big impact. So of course, it's the same thing, how refining CX automation can really help technology, can really help growth, can really help reduce your overall cost. So I'll give you one small example. I think examples are more important for you to understand. So in BlueSmart, we used to have conversations ranging between 5,000 to 6,000 customers on a day-on-day basis. Now, if 5,000, 6,000 customers are calling, if I have to reduce, I had a team of some 80, 90 people only on the chat system. And if you have 80, 90 people, just imagine 80 people into even 20,000 rupees, how much cost I'm incurring month on month to pay out their salaries. Now, what is a big thing what organizations look at as reduction of cost? It's just not empowerment of employees. It's just not automation. It's also empowering your people and ensuring reduction of cost happens. That's when we created a project team and we started looking at top 20% of the transaction which has 80% impact. It's a 20-80 ratio logic what we put at. And then we minimized all these cases and we built workflow within the system and ensured that these does not even reach the agent. Everything was resolved via chatbot, everything was resolved via auto response. We tried to create a ticketing system in place and integration in place. The application used to give automatic pop-ups to customers and give them notifications. So all this reduced the cost by almost 80%. So today we are just running with a 20% staffing, which almost does, like, the transaction cost has come down from a 5,000 transactions per day to a 1,000 transaction per day. And we are able to effectively personalize with customers and handle those edge cases which needs due attention. So again, an example to it, the customer is in the car and the driver is not looking at her appropriately. Now, can an AI really resolve this issue? Okay, AI can understand this issue. But can an AI resolve this issue? No, it cannot. Can it really understand what the person is going through and make her feel comfortable? The answer is no. That is where personalization comes in. That's where empathy comes in. And that's where the AI realizes that, hey, this is a safety issue. I can't handle it. It requires a human touch, and I will have to forward this conversation to an agent, and the agent handles this case. And then there is a personalization which happens there. Hey, are you fine? Do you need help? And all those etc. things which happen. So there is a thin line between how much of automation can you do and how much of human touch can you give in a particular transaction. And this is very sophisticated in nature. If we all think that, okay, technology is advancing and we're all techies and we know how to do automations, yes, of course, technology is advancing. It is really creating a lot of buzz in the market. AI is really, really superficially strong. But does it mean that it can replace humans? No, I don't think it can ever replace humans. It can act as a binder. It can complement entire process. It can build an efficiency in the system but not replace humans. So, for all the techies and for all the people, I think that is one of the biggest questions which I'm asked every time. Do you think, Priya, that this is going to be replaced completely by AI? I say the answer is always no. So next, that's all I was talking about on the example, that it's all a balancing act that happens between an AI and a human. If you don't keep the balance right, if you don't keep the balance intact, then the balance falls down. So there are a lot of organizations, if you see, they are hardcore, like Ola. Let me give you an example of Ola because I have tried their app. I'm not sure how many of you have tried their app. How many of you have tried the app? Okay, in this app, if you generally have an issue with the driver and you try to reach out to their contact center teams, there is no answer. Basically, there is no response. There is a chat which happens, and there is an end-to-end resolution which is given in a chat. And even if it is slightly related to safety also, it takes you to the ticketing system and says that, hey, somebody will reach out to you in the next whatever minutes. Okay, but is that what I want as a customer when I'm going through the journey? The answer is no. So that's where I put this picture across, just to say that, yes, it's a balancing act that happens between an AI and a human, and this cannot change. This never will change. And any industry you go across, I think this is something which will remain constant across all segments, across all industry, at any stage or any life cycle journey of an industry. So of course, data insights, human agents stepping in at the right time, AI recommendations, it always recommends what product to be sold to what customer. All these are very, very important. Just to share a very, very small example, all of us are women over here. I'm sure all of you have used Myntra app. Yes, no? Yeah? So we all shop, right? We all have our preferences. We all have our choices. So how does this AI engine work? It understands my buying pattern. It knows that, okay, Priya has got a flair for buying shoes. Priya has a flair for buying watches. So it goes and searches my background, my profiling, and then it automatically throws the data onto the front screen with a notification that, hey, this has got released, would you want to have a look at it? Something new, and this is actually specifically personalized from individual to individual to individual. It is not similar. What I get, the other person may not get. What the other person gets, the other person may not get. So it is completely personalized based on the triggers I do, based on the purchase power I have, based on the segment of, lifestyle segment, what I go through, what I even click. The clicks, what I do is also captured through the AI. And there is a personalized decision-making ability which is built in the AI, which throws a scenario of things which probably at any point of time, which I will probably want to buy. So I think that is where AI stands, which probably a human cannot do currently. And this information is also given to an agent for service recovery. So there are times when the customer is not using the app or not using an instrument for a particular time. That is when the data is fetched, you do analysis, you take insights, you see how many times has Priya come into the app for the last 5 times, 6 times in a month. And if those many times Priya has not come in, then there is a power indicated that, hey, there is a service recovery you have to do immediately to get the person into the system back. That's when human intervention comes in. How? The data, the insights. So the balancing act and the information collection is a very, very critical process when it comes to human and AI integration. So this is the example what I wanted to give. How AI integration can really help a shopper shop. In Myntra, you buy a product, you have so many options. Through various options, somebody tells you, the AI throws that, hey, probably the red shoe, there are 3 options in red shoe and the brands with the red shoe. And then the person takes the choice of picking the one, and then you don't put your brains too much. The AI is showing you everything. And even after the AI is showing, when there is a problem and when the customer is trying to get back, that's when a personalized conversation happens through the agent, because there is a series of interaction that the AI does and then throws the chat session to an agent for the agent to actually converse with the customer. So simplification is the key, and enabling is the key over here than any other aspects. So there are sentiment analysis what generally people do. I'm sure all of us are sentimental about everything, right? Even attending this session is a sentiment. Even doing this session is a sentiment. Listening to the class is also a sentiment. When you walk out of this room, you have a sentiment what you carry and you walk out, right? So I think at every stage, every life cycle journey of our journeys, our individual journeys, we have sentiments. So sentiments is something which is captured through every conversation what happens, and every industry does this now. It's across every industry. They're using different mechanisms, different tools. Insights are captured. How it captures is through word cloud. I'm very upset with the transaction. Upset is a negative verbiage for me. I'm super glad that I purchased your product. Super happy or super proud or super good. Anything which is like a positive affirmation is captured as a positive sentiment. The only problem over here, it doesn't capture sarcasm. Oh, your product was great, that's why I couldn't use it right. It will capture the word great, it will call it as a positive affirmation and treat it as a positive sentiment, but it will not understand the word meaning of a sarcasm. So AI is not tuned for sarcasm. So that's when you go back to the insights and you look at, okay, Priya is not on a positive note, Priya is on a neutral note or a negative note. Okay, that's how the AI captures. That's all about sentiment analysis, how detecting a frustration. It can actually also route an agent if the customer is very frustrated. So it's something like this, right? If you are going into an Amazon platform and you are buying a product, you've got a defective product at home and you're trying to chat with Amazon agent. As soon as you say, my product was hopeless, the AI can capture this word hopeless, or I will go to social media and I will post, or I will move to your grievance team and I'll post, or I will go to your ombudsman team and I'll post. Any sentiment of such kind, you can route it directly to an agent rather than having a chat conversation, and that's what is all about routing issues. And enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty, I think all of us do it. Even in our regular lives, we have friends and we are loyal to our friends. You know what your friend likes and what your friend doesn't like. So if your friend likes AYZ, you just do that AYZ and you don't do that ABC. So it's similar even in business. We capture all the sentiments. We capture all the patterns of customer. We capture how many times what the person has done. We use that information and we give probably, bonuses to customers, we give them incentives to customers, we give them coupons, we give them vouchers, we give them, discounts, offers, and all that has been released. That's the marketing tactics. But how has this been done? This is again via information. This is again via insights. So these are the green flags which happens in all industries, and I've just called out the basic green flags that happen. I think this is very, very important from a overall strategy point of view. Upskilling and literacy, yeah, of course. AI is a very, how do I put it across? Only 40% of the industries are actually using AI and it's to leveraging its full capability. But the remaining set of almost 60% of the service industry segments or any other industries do not know how to use, or if they know, they don't know how to adopt it. Or there is no classification of information which is given. Like you don't educate your people so that they learn AI. Like for example, I'll give you a simple example. So we all write emails, meaning my team, I have a very large team which is sitting in Gurgaon. And Gurgaon culturally, right, they're not very good in grammar. And I've realized this over time that in comparison to Bangalore and Gurgaon, Bangalore is more good on English and the verbiage they use, the positive affirmations they use on an email and all that is very easier vis-a-vis Gurgaon because they're more used to the English kind of a culture where they use a lot of Hindi words. So I was like sitting across the team and I was telling them, why don't you use ChatGPT? Write a sentence and just put it on ChatGPT and ask the ChatGPT to convert into a proper grammatical verbiage and then take the data from there. It's so simple. So teaching and coaching and enabling people is very important. It's not important that you have knowledge. It's how you assimilate your knowledge and get it executed is the strategy over here. We can all be great visionaries. I'm sure a lot of leaders have spoken over here. A lot of people can talk, articulate, be great visionaries, great leaders. But at the end of the day, if you have a vision and you can't execute your vision, then there is a problem in hand. Everything fails top-down approach. So I always say that if you have knowledge, assimilate your knowledge together and teach people so that they learn something great out of you and tomorrow they remember for what you are and what you have taught them rather than, just knowing you as a leader. So the blend on human outlook and collaboration is something what we have to do. It's a continuous learning process that's there. Plus, how to start hybrid models, of course, you start small. You don't start big. You look at applications that you want to use. Use API integrations. First, put all your applications together. Look at data collaboration. And then you start moving forward. But for anything and everything, I think it's very important to know what your customer wants, how your customer reacts to a particular situation, and how you want to react to a customer during a particular situation. I think if you don't know the answers for all these three layers, then you can't really transform what you want to bring onto table. Of course, there are challenging situations which I already spoke to you, but then I think I always feel that assessing what you want, you need to have a clear vision. You need to have a framework in your mind, very clear framework as to how you want to approach your vision. And once you put your framework, I always tell people, everybody I tell that you need to be outcome driven. You need to know what are the 4 things you want to bring on to table when you have a vision. And based on that outcome, create an AI integration applications which will give you that outcome. Go backward approach. Don't go top-down approach, go bottom-up approach. And that's something which I follow in my career and it has been very successful for me. So I actually tell everybody to follow the bottom-down, bottom-top approach rather than the top-bottom approach. Thank you so much.